Hello, thanks for joining us for another Outlast recap show episode. My name's Alex. I'm, of course, the host of Outlast, and I'm joined by Jen, as always. Hello.
Hello.
We are going to be discussing episode 9 of Outlast, titled Tough Sleddin'. It'll be tough sledding for you if you listen to this recap without watching the episode first. So make sure to go back and watch the episode on this YouTube channel, and then you can come back and listen to the recap to hear our thoughts and behind the scenes info and to hear from the eliminated player. I'm going to talk about nothing here for another 5 seconds or so to give anybody who may have stumbled upon this time to exit out of it before I reveal who the eliminated player was. And that is now coming to a close. So that's Adam, whose game comes to a close here. He becomes the third member of the jury, collects a lot of votes a lot of times along the way, and it finally catches up to him this time. I think coming into this episode, he was at 8 votes received, plus the, let's see, how many would it have been? Actually, it might be more than that because I don't have last week's tallied yet. I don't think he got it. I don't know. He's gotten a lot of votes.
A lot of
Is
votes.
the thing here. So, uh, maybe let's start with we'll start with moments and then we'll talk about the eliminated player. So, for you, Jen, what was your biggest, most exciting, memorable moment from this episode?
I would say I really enjoyed Sky and Adam trying to sway Dan.
Yeah.
It's they do a really good job. It doesn't work,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's really good gameplay. So I'd say that's probably top.
Yeah.
I also
Well, if you're gonna steal all the moments, then I won't
oh,
have a moment. So,
sorry, take your moment.
well, to hone in on that, yeah, I think that Dan's not buying what they're selling in the long run, but he does seem to be interested and he seems to hear what they're saying, and I do think the argument is really good. I think that the
Yeah.
approach and the argument's really good. Adam and Sky basically tell him, "Look, you're the fourth most likely winner in a group of 4 right now. Like, you need to mix that up or you're not going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think from Dan's perspective, that's not true. He doesn't see himself that way. It remains to be seen how the rest of the group sees things. But from their perspective, yeah, he's like the low man on the totem pole, the classic person to try and sway over. And I think the way that they present it, yeah, is really strong. Sky talks about, look, you've been left out of votes. You are giving yourself a better chance. You've got allies in tie that are going to be on our side if you flip, right? Like, you have your own subgroup within it. And I think the thing they stopped short of doing, which may have been even a little bit more effective, is they don't give a reason to vote Elizabeth specifically. They're just kind of like, it's on her. If they would have gone even further and said, like, because they're saying, oh, people are saying, like, you're the ringleader or whatever, or people are saying that Sam's the third. I don't know. If they would have said, yeah, Elizabeth was saying that she sees her, Abby, and Sam as the primary group, or Elizabeth was saying that, you're actually running the show and they have to vote you out early or something. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't give him a reason to make a vote against a particular person, but rather just against an idea.
Yeah.
And that maybe it would have been more effective, or maybe it would have led to the same result. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that was a really good scene, and they lay it on pretty thick there.
Yeah, I also really liked Abby and Sam's confessionals.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's just a good moment to kind of see both of them lay out what they're seeing, kind of what they're thinking,
Yeah.
and I think it's spot on.
Yeah. I will say for me, I think this challenge was a really fun and compelling one. It was a really challenging one of the most demanding ones we did, I think. It was kind of hacky the way that we had to reset it a few times, but there was really no other way around it. We can talk about it more when we get to that part in the episode. But yeah, this was. I liked the way that we introduced the kind of team challenge twist in here, and think it played out pretty well and excitingly. It was kind of the merge version of the episode 3 slingshot challenge where it's like every shot people are getting close, one of them's gonna hit and it's gonna be over.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that was a good moment. Let's talk about Adam here, who's eliminated the third member of the jury. His story kind of from the start is centered in his alliance with Sky, the Sky Force of it all. He's often either a target or a backup target when they're trying to maybe flush an idol. And so he's kind of played the entire game from his back foot, even from the very first time Orange goes to tribal, they vote out his closest ally. It's a tie vote on him, right? Like, could have
Mm-hmm.
very well been him there. And much like, you know, Sky to a lesser degree, like, yeah, Adam is kind of playing to survive every time he goes to tribal since then. So I don't know if he's ever able to use the analogy that happens at tribal this episode to like go on the offense
Yeah.
other than for the sake of playing defense, by playing offense. So
Yeah.
yeah, in a different world where maybe he's able to get his feet under him early on to like group up with a larger group, like maybe things turn out differently for him. He's seen as somebody who's a target. You see, Ty's voting booth confessional where you don't see what he writes down, but you hear about it. He names the person he voted for as like who he sees as the biggest threat.
Mm-hmm.
So he is seen as threatening. Yeah, anything to add there? Played a good, fun game. Again, a lot of it kind of hard to separate from Skies, but yeah.
Yeah. I feel for Adam throughout the whole game because I think you could just see the frustration grow as he's saying as many ways as he can, we're not the threat here.
Right, right.
And it's like other Orange can't see it, and or the not core green couldn't see it, and just no one could make a move outside of that. And so yeah, you just see him grow and grow and grow as getting more and more exasperated. And yeah, I feel for that just because I think he's saying he has a really good read on the game and is kind of stuck, like you were saying, in what people think as, the I can't think of the word.
The reality.
I don't know. Like, yeah, like I think it just
yeah,
threat. Like he's seen him and Sky are seen as the biggest threat, which I think they are a really big threat.
Sure.
Sky's a really big threat if she gets to the end.
Yeah.
Because it's a great story if they both, it's but it's like reality is they both can't get to the end and both win. And he knows
Sure.
that. So at a certain point, yeah, I love what he says of like it's just time to get messy. And you really see him take it up a notch this episode.
Right.
And what's great is that I don't think it's messy at all, in that it's just more loud a
Mm-hmm.
little bit, or more overt, that,
Yeah.
they have to see that Sky and Adam are sitting on a swing with Dan,
Yeah.
you know.
I do think it's funny that they're like, now we have to start playing messy, as if what they've been doing before now
Right, right.
isn't. But
Yeah. I think it's a I mean, I think Adam, like, maybe Sky has been playing a little bit more messy, in the
mm-hmm.
sense of, like, a little bit more loud. And Adam, in a sense, has too, but I think in this version, like, this is more Adam getting loud
Yeah.
and more messy for him.
I do wonder, like, in retrospect, like, was there maybe something for him at 9? I think that the elimination of Anna last round, like, takes out a potential ally for them,
Yeah.
in that she, this is maybe not knowledge to anyone else as the game's going, but in our talk with her on the recap show last week, she talks about how, she was never really solid with green. Like, the reason that she flips against David in that first vote is that she knew that she was, like, not a part of the primary Green Alliance, that she was just kind of looped in as a number, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
her willingness to vote against them is already stated. Like, yeah, maybe at 9, they've already got the 3 voting Anna. If they would have taken those 3 votes and looped Anna in and pushed it on somebody else, couldn't have been Elizabeth because she won immunity, but Abby or Sam there, like, yeah, they eliminate one of those, or Dan, even if Dan's not flipping. They take out one of those, they bring somebody in their group. I don't know. Just speculation at this point, but yeah,
Yeah, but then he's just there for one more episode until,
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
you never know how it works out. Let's start going through the events of the episode then. I think off the top, it's interesting people talking about last round, speaking of Anna, and that there's some conflicting narratives here happening, and that, Dan's kind of claiming ownership for getting it switched onto Anna. It seemed like maybe Sam had something to do with that last round. I think Isaac's kind of taking some light responsibility for that too. So there's a lot of people claiming ownership of that, and not really a clear picture of how exactly it happens. There's also, Isaac says in confessional that he tipped Sky off. Sky tells everyone else that she wasn't tipped off. Like, a couple, kind of big open questions about what really happened last time. And, you're getting narratives that contradict each other from different people, which is not surprising. Like, people want to present things in a way that makes them look best. And so we'll see if any of that does get cleared up. Yeah, let's talk about the challenge and the group challenge kind of twist. I wanted to do this. I think that times post-merge, when you can give a larger group of people immunity than just one, is always interesting, in that it obviously narrows your targets down, and could create some shakeups, and interesting dynamics. And that, it gives a higher, it's always compelling on Survivor when it's like, this person's gonna be out, and then they win immunity, and it's like, oh, they saved themselves. You give 4 people immunity, the opportunity for somebody to save themselves is quadrupled. And so, yeah, like, maybe Sky does that by being a part of the winning team here. But yeah, and I think a bad way of doing it is the way they do it sometimes, where then they say, like, it's 2 separate groups going to tribal separately, because then it feels kind of weird, because you're not relying on the same number of votes or the same people. But at least spreading immunity out a little bit, I think, creates a fun shift. So, yeah, was overall pleased with that part of the twist.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting how the groups split.
Right.
and that was a random draw.
Yep.
And at that point, it's just, you see that and you're like, well, it's either Sky or Adam.
Yeah.
But we know that Sky has the hidden immunity idol. And so once you see that it's Adam
Yeah.
and Isaac, I do think there's just this reality where you're like, okay, well,
Yeah.
sorry, Adam.
Yeah, if Adam's on the winning group, but it's it's interesting to speculate what happens because like Ty and Isaac are working together in kind of an undercover way. Ty's not doesn't really want to vote out Isaac. So if Adam and Sky are both immune, like what happens then? Like I think the initial target is probably Isaac, but Ty's maybe not up for that. So then maybe you do get the 4-4,
Right.
split vote in a tie, like would be really interesting. So, from that perspective, it would have been more compelling if Adam also won immunity, but he didn't. So, went up against Ty.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like we mentioned, we had to reset this one a couple times. It was, the very first swim out, like Adam knocks the basket over and all the balls go flying, and so that sucks. Like we can't say, all right, swim all the way to Timbuktu to get this ball that somebody else took out. So we reset then. And it was going for some time. Like they're out there treading water for a long time. People started on the shores to get worried. It's like, all right, let's put an end to it. Like Ty and Adam were both getting really close, even from that distance, to hitting a shot. And I think it would have happened.
Yeah.
But, didn't want to create a dangerous situation, right? So just kind of made the call. Okay, let's take a minute, give everybody a breather, move the hoop in a few feet, and restart. I don't know if it changes the result at all. Like, again, both of them were on it leading up to it, so
yeah, no one really complained about that, I don't think.
No, I think it's valid.
It is like a really fun one to watch, and was a fun one to watch in person. Background, we were supposed to have 2 basketball hoops, but I think it's fine that it was 1.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was hard enough at the distance where like there wasn't anyone like knocking somebody else's out, or wasn't hard to like know who's went in.
Yeah.
That's the only time I think it would be tricky. The challenge tester, builder, was able to...
Yeah, he said he nailed him, from the full distance, so...
So, these losers.
Yeah, they couldn't do it. Yeah, the little behind-the-scenes info, one of the more technical solutions that I was proud of is that we literally anchored the hoop down. I, bought a little anchor, like a small boat anchor, and tied a rope to it, and so that way the hoop wouldn't drift, because as you saw, the balls drifted a lot. So that was nice, but yep. So Ty, Abby, Dan, Sky win. That leaves Isaac, Elizabeth, Adam, and Sam on the losing group. I think an interesting development here, like last week we talked about, okay, Adam's maybe the first person to start clocking Elizabeth, Abby, Sam as these targets who are kind of silently running the game. This week is the first time you hear from Abby and Sam kind of thinking about the possibility of having to move against them or against their allies to make a move. Dan is also obviously approached, but is not open to it. Ultimately, nobody does it, of course, but yeah, I don't know. Any thoughts, I guess, about that sort of development as maybe the threat levels of Abby and Elizabeth, particularly their threat levels rise? Abby and Sam start thinking maybe about making a flip.
Yeah, I kind of think, I was just thinking this, that in, all makes more sense now, but I think there should have been some more seeds planted with Dan before this,
Yeah.
because it's really hard to, at this point it's 4 orange, 4 green,
Right.
for them to give the other the numbers.
Yeah.
But if you were already planting those seeds every time that Dan wasn't in on the vote, just saying like a couple things to build that, then I think what they would have said, what they said this last episode, would have hit. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe
Wouldn't have been the first time he's heard it. Yeah.
right, but it's like that takes a lot of foresight, or
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
and it's not, there's not enough time maybe to come up with that plan, as they're just trying to make it every round. But yeah, I think that's the main two things that I was thinking throughout this episode is he's the most loyal, he's playing a loyal game, and but he is your best chance of flipping potentially. I mean, I see Sam
The most
as maybe,
logical
yeah,
choice
logical,
of flipping.
yeah, like I could see Sam maybe, you know,
Yeah, Sam says it to the camera. He also says it to Sky that he can't go green all the way to the end. You know,
Yeah.
Sam seems like somebody who's open to it.
but then at the end of the day, I think what I see is it's easiest at the end of the day to go with what you know of green
Right.
versus orange.
Yeah.
And I think in this round, I think that's maybe what people stick to, just to say, okay, not this one. Because I think, again, it's that fear of flipping too soon.
Right.
And then,
It just bouncing back on you.
right.
Right.
And so it's, you know, you don't want to go without a big move. You don't want to go to the end with somebody who can beat you.
Yeah.
But you also have to get to the end.
Right.
So I do think they correctly play this as far as like getting Adam out.
Yeah.
If you're the top, you know, 4 over there, like I think they're playing this correctly in
think
order
so,
to
too.
in order to keep moving forward.
Right.
Because
Yeah, I think so too, because ultimately anybody flipping at this point would be moving to an alliance that they're less
Right.
familiar with
Right.
than what they have. I've been thinking like all week about this, about taking it from everyone's perspective of like, is this the right move? But I've been doing so with the knowledge of how the game ends in mind, you know, which I obviously won't talk about. And even then, you know, I actually won't finish the thought because there's probably it won't spoil anything, but there's a chance it does. It's what I'm saying is that like, I think with just the knowledge of what people know right now, yeah, I think not flipping is a totally justifiable move for all 4 of those green players. If you take a wider lens view, once you have the whole picture in mind, maybe that changes. Maybe it still is the right move for everyone, even though only one of them or one of anyone can win, right?
right.
But yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to the end of things and we look back. Oh, should somebody have made a move here? I want to talk about Ty here, and specifically Sam and Ty, in that, you know, you see Sam and Elizabeth talking like, okay, we need a 5th to break the deadlock. And Sam feels really confident that he's got Ty along for the ride. And so I think that's like, you know, a relationship that's attributed to Sam. Ty's been voting with Green for a few rounds now, even going back to the swap before the merge. And I think you can, give Sam credit for involving him. It sounds like, you know, obviously Elizabeth and Abby weren't with him pre-merge at all. So they wouldn't have been able to do that work, but I don't know, Ty and Dan maybe have a little bit of a connection. Ty's also working with Isaac under the radar. It's like Ty's really in a pretty solid spot here as kind of that middleman, where he's got connections to Green through Dan and Sam. He's got connections with Orange through Isaac, you know.
Yeah.
And so he's in like a nice middle spot. And yeah, can seemingly go whichever way suits him at any point. Now, that way has been with Green for a few votes now, but yeah, keeping the relationship with Isaac warm, so to speak, may, you know, prove useful.
Yeah, then I think Ty's gonna have to play really hard, though, because if Dan's the fourth, then Ty's the fifth.
Exactly, right.
So,
But the difference is that Dan doesn't have a working relationship with Isaac or Sky.
right.
Whereas Ty does, right?
And the jury is predominantly Orange, which
Right now, yeah, 2-1, yeah.
would bode well for Ty, you know, end game, thinking of getting votes at the end.
Yeah. What I'm just imagining, and I hadn't thought about
I
this.
think of Anna as Orange.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, and
Oh.
she's not.
No, she was green the whole time.
Yeah.
But she worked with, you
Right.
know, Hannah
So
and
in
Cody.
my head,
Yeah.
the jury is all Orange right now.
Right. What I just thought about was how Anna and Adam never were on a same pre-swap tribe. And I guess that obviously they were on the merge together for 2 rounds. So never mind. I was thinking like, oh, they like maybe like met on the jury, you
Yeah.
know. But maybe they never talked before then. Anyway. Yeah, we talked about the elevating threat levels of Abby, Elizabeth, and Sam a little bit. We talked about the arguments. I think we covered that well, that Sky and Adam made. We talk about Sky putting heat on Abby at Tribal here, like, I don't know, maybe learning something from Anna, that Tribal that they went to together a while back of, you know, trying to put some heat on someone. Like, it's not the first time this episode where even coming back from Tribal, Sky's kind of making that same case against Abby, saying like, you know, Abby keeps talking like she's on the chopping block. She's, you know, scared to be eliminated, and she's fine. She's not even a consideration. And so I think there's probably a mix of like some strategy and some actual personal fatigue with hearing somebody who's in a power position claiming, oh, I was so nervous, when you've been truly in the crosshairs for
Yeah.
several times. Like, I
Yeah.
imagine that's probably annoying or frustrating to hear from Sky's perspective. But, you know, it's very clear at this point that Adam and Sky's game plan is to put as much heat on Abby, Sam, Elizabeth as they can. And this is a way of doing it, is kind of calling out to everyone, hopefully, what people are starting to see, that like these people are really in a, you know, playing a great game
Yeah.
and could win.
Yeah, I think what like I hear Abby saying after each vote or at, you know, in this moment is, you never know. And I think Ty speaks to that too.
Yeah, Ty kind of comes to her rescue there,
Yeah.
which I think is speaks to Ty's social game here too a little
Right.
bit.
Where it's, yeah, you could think that you're in this really great spot and you never know when somebody's going to flip. And
Right.
like, obviously it's worked out in that top 3, top 4s.
Yeah. And
Advantage.
So ultimately, Adams voted out 5 votes to 3, 3 votes on Elizabeth. She hangs on to the idol, doesn't play it, despite having, you know, being 1 vote away from at least a tie. So that's noteworthy there, that Elizabeth knows that her name, maybe she doesn't know, but probably has a feeling that her name is in the mix. She's chooses to trust in Ty, and I think Sam by extension, that he's got Ty, you know, and
But I
hangs
think
on to
she's
it.
really trusting Sam a lot here because
Yeah,
she's like, I kind of feel this way with Ty, but she's trusting that Sam really is reading it correctly and
Yeah.
trusting that Sam isn't flipping or lying to her.
Yeah. Yeah. And, proves to be trust put uh, put in the right place, right?
Right.
So yeah, her holding on to it is noteworthy in that way. Sky also doesn't use her second idol on Adam, which I think isn't really brought up in the episode as something that's being considered, but number one ally, secret idol that nobody knows about. Could
Adam
have,
still doesn't know about it.
yeah, and imagine if she plays it here. She bounces Elizabeth out here,
That's crazy. Yeah.
and kind of changes the outlook going forward. Now that green group is kind of Elizabeth seems like maybe the glue holding those relationships together. Like if Sky plays the idol here, votes out Elizabeth, suddenly maybe Adam, Sky, and Isaac are like in the power position.
Yeah.
Who knows? But, can't blame Sky also for pocketing it, and she knows that her threat level is also high and that she probably will need it later, right?
Right.
Okay, anything else before we move on to our players of the week?
I don't think so. Really, I think a good episode. And then this is just kind of big picture, kind of the day. How many more rounds or
Just one.
tribal? So one more tribal
Yep.
for until the end of the day.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm watching this and I'm just thinking like they're so pooped.
Oh, for sure. What a long day.
Like mentally, they look exhausted.
Super long day.
Emotionally.
There's very little break, especially once you hit the merge. Like
Yeah,
pre-merge, maybe you get a break when you win a challenge, but yeah.
Yeah,
you're
I
just
mean, like they
going.
were in that lake and didn't get to shower afterwards.
Sure,
You
yeah.
know, like we had to keep going.
Gotta keep going. Okay, shout out to Isaac for naming this episode Tough Sleddin'. You hear him say it there at Tribal. Who gets your Gertchie Award for your player of the week, Jen?
I had a tough time deciding this. There's a lot of honorable mentions in this episode for me, but ultimately I tried to go back to when I was there in person and watching the episode, and
Interesting.
it lands on Elizabeth for me.
Okay, and why is that?
Because I remember watching this vote and literally being blown away that she didn't play her idol.
Yeah.
And I'm panicking and I'm not her, and she's sitting there and she handles it really well. And I think great read, great relationships and trust.
Mm-hmm.
And she gets to keep her idol another day.
Yeah. I think that is valid. She was on my short list. I'm also going to honorable mention Ty wins the challenge for his team. Ultimately votes out Adam, who he sees as somebody that he has a less likely chance of working with than his other options. Kind of is a deciding factor there. I'm going to give mine to Sam, though.
I knew that. I was going to guess that.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with Sam's like social relational game here. I think the way that he handles talking to to Ty is really impressive. Whether he knows it or not, he does the classic Survivor thing where he goes to, at this point, like they've already said that they would prefer to target Adam, right? But he goes to Ty and says, "Who do you want?" And he says, "I don't want to vote out Isaac." And he's like, "Cool, then it's Adam." He makes Ty think he's making the decision.
Yeah.
Whether or not he actually is. I think just really strong social maneuvering. And yeah, he survives, even though he's not getting votes. He's in a position of vulnerability here too. He's on the short list. Is able to worm his way out of it. So yeah, I think his relationship with and handling of Ty is kind of the deciding factor for his alliance this round. Okay, that'll do it from us. After this, you'll hear from Adam and I to discuss the events of this episode and his game. So hang on the horn, and I'll throw it to Adam and I in right after this. Okay, I'm now joined by Adam, who, of course, is the eliminated player this episode. Adam, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Of course, it is truly terrible that I'm here this early.
Yeah, always wish it was under better circumstances. Now, to the eagle-eared listener, you may notice just a certain effortless rapport between Adam and I, and that's because we have a long history of podcast, reps behind us. So, when those
We do.
transitions are clean and it's just, old muscle memory kicking back in. So yeah, we'll start the way that everyone, we start with everyone here, and that maybe start by talking about your experience, playing Outlast and then watching it back. Yeah, I guess broadly first.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are really two parts to this. I think playing playing the game, it was a lot, and I think everybody has said this. It was just so much tougher than I thought it was going to be.
Sure.
Um, for one, it's just so fast paced. Um, the doing it in a weekend, I mean, we eliminate so many people so quickly,
Yeah.
that just getting your footing feels like a lot. Um, I think watching it back has been hard, because I hate watching myself in things,
Sure.
as everyone does.
Yeah, pretty
But
much everybody I've talked to has said that, I think.
it's also like it's I don't know. I think that you kind of leave the game, even if it wasn't successful, like mine was. You kind of leave the game feeling like you understand what was happening.
Sure.
And watching it back, you just see a lot of things that you missed or opportunities you could have taken advantage of. And the hindsight being 2020, it's like you it took a while to not feel like I was in the game anymore.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
even rewatching it, my mind drifts back into that, like, what could I have done? Could I have done this? Or like, how could
Sure.
I, that sort of thing. That makes it kind of hard to watch at
Yeah.
times.
I mean,
Especially knowing it's like a horror movie, you're like, don't go in there.
yeah, yeah. Don't tell that thing to Isaac. He's gonna tell everyone else. Yeah. I've said it on the Discord, but one of my favorite background narratives here is how the back and forth between you and Sky and Isaac of how, you'll do something and then Isaac will betray you, and then you'll make up, and then Sky will say like, I think I'm really repairing trust with Isaac, and then Isaac will go like tell the tribe about her immunity idol,
Yeah.
and then the next episode you'll make up, and then Sky will also say like, I'm really working strongly with Isaac. It's like yeah, I find that funny.
Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those things where it's like, Sky and I were never in a position while I was in the game to like, I mean, to turn down Isaac. Like, we just were
Right.
never in a position to turn down anybody who was like, "Yeah, I'll work with you." And so like Isaac could kind of just keep doing this thing, and as long as he came back, everyone's like, "Yeah, that was fucked up," and like, then
Mm-hmm.
it would be like, okay, well, I guess we don't really have a choice. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really interested, like when we do this again, will there be more instances, or like, I feel like a thing that didn't happen very often was after the kind of initial names came out, somebody saying like, actually forget all that. Like, here's something else that's totally different. Maybe we can rally around this other thing, right? Like, here's somebody like you see on Survivor sometimes, right? Like somebody pushes a plan and then somebody like throws it all back on the person pushing the plan. I don't know. The fast pace of it definitely makes that tougher.
Well, I mean, you do kind of see that with Ty getting rid of Cody
Sure, that's a great point. Yeah, that's a
in like
yeah.
that moment. I think it is just like you have so little time before tribal. I think that this is what I'm curious about in season two is if people play the game harder earlier on.
Hmm.
Because I think everyone's experience with this season one was it was no one wanted to play the game too hard too early.
Yeah.
And as a result, like Orange gets to the first tribal, and we've like kind of talked about like, oh man, like we should work together. We could kind of do this sort of thing, and that's the extent of the conversations.
Yeah.
Um, and then we're like gearing up for tribal, and it's like everybody turns it on, and like you
Hmm.
see that in like episode three for us. Like
Yeah.
Green doesn't really have the chance to like not play the game
Right.
like Orange did early on, but like episode three, it is just so hectic. And I mean, like you edited that so well that like the way it felt was just like it was so fast, and you're talking to everybody, and everybody's like kind of pitching something or trying to do something.
Yeah.
And I'm curious if in another season of this, people having watched this are like, I got to play the game earlier. I got to get like solid with people earlier.
Yeah. It's interesting because I don't think there's like a clear takeaway because I think the first two people eliminated on green were the people who were maybe slower to fire up, but the first person eliminated on your tribe, being Sky, was the person who did the most the earliest. You know,
Mhm.
so it's like,
For sure. And
yeah,
Sky running around like, oh, we should do a women's alliance. Oh, we should do this
yeah,
alliance. It's
yeah,
just so like, I think there's a balance where
yeah.
you
The
can do
the
you
middle
can do
ground is
less than
probably the
Sky
right
and
thing.
more
Yeah.
than most of us.
Um, Going back to the viewing experience, I'm just curious if there's been anything to this point that you've seen back on the show that made you, yeah, that like surprised you of like, oh wow, that person did that thing, like that's crazy. I had no idea. I'm not necessarily teeing you up to talk about this, but you said on Discord the other day about um how you viewed what Dan did up to this point differently, you know,
Yeah.
seeing it back.
Yeah, I mean, I think other players have talked about like seeing the other tribe, because you just I was on Orange the entire time up until the merge,
Yeah.
so I never traveled over to Green, and so my understanding of I guess Sam, Anna, and Dan's game because they were the three Green that were there
Yep.
when we merged. Um, my understanding of their game is entirely influenced by what Abby and Elizabeth tell me
Right.
and what Ty tells me uh, from when we get there,
Yeah.
um, which when is like Abby and Elizabeth are playing really close to the chest. They don't obviously like they're in an alliance with Dan, so their perspective on Dan is to like try to minimize him as a threat to me.
Yeah.
Um, and so it makes sense that they're not giving me everything. And Ty is there when Dan is out of the loop
Yeah.
for at least one vote,
Yeah.
and is kind of like giving this perspective of Dan's game. And so like I don't have this like view of Dan's game as like being. I mean, it's he's aligned with good people and like
Yeah.
he's playing a smart survivor game. I don't mean to like discount the game that he played, but
Yeah.
like I didn't see him as someone making moves. I didn't see him as someone doing things. And like the first two votes, I'm like watching Dan play, and I'm just like, what? Who is this
Yeah.
Dan?
Right.
Like, where
Right.
did this Dan go?
Right.
So I like you definitely get that. I think it was so interesting to watch Sam just kind of not play the game, and in doing so, play the game.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't figure out Sam's game too much, and there are things that he says at various points after the merge up to this point where I'm like, well, that should have been a bigger red flag. What was I
Sure.
thinking?
Sure.
And
Yeah.
like there are things like that that definitely come up. I I also think that like I mean there's that respect for Dan's game, a lot more respect for Dan's game than I had initially,
Hmm.
for sure. There's also just like watching what was it two episodes ago when we take out Hannah
Yeah.
is like. just heartbreaking to watch. Like I'm
Yeah.
watching it, I'm like beating this drum in the moment, and in the moment I'm like, yeah, like that's who we should do. But now I'm watching it back, and I'm just like, man, this sucks. Like she did not deserve this.
Yeah.
And so I think you get a lot of like, it's so interesting to see how you've been played, I
Mm.
guess, in
Mm-hmm.
various moments, and also like your perspective on this person. Just kind of it changes over time as you like learn a little bit more about the game they were playing, but then also just like see what happened to them in the moments that you weren't there.
Right.
It's like, oh, like that's yeah, that makes sense that like you went that way or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, pretty huge blind spot to not when you're not on a tribe with somebody, in the first half of the game. Like, yeah, hard to really wrap your head around, their whole thing, I imagine.
For
Um
sure.
Obviously a big part of your game and your story on Outlast is your alliance with Sky, the Sky Force of it all. Um yeah, I guess maybe like the biggest question regarding that is, do you feel like there was a moment or a time where you should have ditched her, for lack of a better term, or changed things up in another way, as the two of you are obviously seen as a big duo, that I think a big part of your own threat level was raised due to being a part of a visible duo. So I don't know, do you think differently about that at all?
I've spent a lot of time thinking about this, especially like eh, after the game's over, all of the players are texting each
Right,
other and
right.
like trying to figure out like, oh, if I had done this, do you think you would have been open to that? Like
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff. And I think at the end of the day, what I didn't expect to happen to me during the game was how starved for trust I would be.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter was, Sky was the only person who ever did what she told me she was going to do.
Right.
And I just like it, it never really crossed my mind. Like, there were definitely times where I was like, do I like throw Sky under the bus here? And I even like, there's at one point I tell Ty about the idol, because I already know that they know about the idol,
Mm.
but I'm like, well, if I tell them, maybe that'll kind of help right here.
Yeah.
But I go back to Sky and I'm like, I know about the idol, and I told Ty about it. So like
Yeah.
I don't know. I genuinely I don't think I had it in me during that game to break away from Sky.
Mm-hmm.
At least especially with how like insecure I felt. Like there was just I couldn't get with anybody, and I felt like if I broke away from Sky, then it was probably just gonna be a thing to get Sky out, and
Mm-hmm.
then I'm left alone and this person was just using me. I don't know that it would have mattered,
Yeah.
unless I did it like real early. Um and
Right.
I yeah, I don't know. I also I reached a point in the game where I was like, I want to, if I make it to the final, I want to sit there with the best players in this game.
Sure.
Which I think that I wasn't concerned about whether I was going to win a final or not. I was just like, I just would love to get there
Mm-hmm.
and get there with the people who I perceived as being the best in this game.
Yeah.
And at that, by a certain point, Sky was up there. Like she
Sure.
played super well
Yeah.
and was figuring it out and all of that. I think I could have managed people's relationships with Sky a little bit better.
Mm.
I think I could have slid in behind her and offered a differing perspective on what they were seeing and
Sure.
potentially like lowered her threat level a bit. But yeah, I don't think I could have turned on Sky at the end of the day. Like
Yeah.
I just we'd been through so much at that point,
For sure.
and I was like, that's what is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Would have been challenging, I'm sure. Um so you kind of talked at the beginning, one of the things you said was that like identifying moments now in retrospective, like, oh, here was an opportunity I missed. What like stuck out to you, if there was anything like that? Because I mean, I don't know, you're kind of playing from the bottom from moment one, like you and
Right.
Sky are obviously targeted from the beginning. I think the only times you don't get votes are Anna's vote and I guess the Anna vote. So,
No, Abby
oh,
voted
you
for
did get
me.
one. So just the Anna vote. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a single tribal I went to that I didn't get a vote
Other
on.
than playing with more people with names
Did
spelled A
wait,
N N A, do you
did
have any?
Anna not did Anna not vote for me? I'm
Anna
trying to
voted for
remember who she
Emily.
voted for.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't know. Like, I had a hard time, absent of you really like shaking something up or taking a colossal back seat, seeing a whole lot more room to maneuver. But, what did you see potentially as a move left on the table or something?
I mean, I there's a moment in this leading up to this tribal that you it's not on video, or at least there wasn't enough footage for you to like put in there.
Mm-hmm.
And the conversation wasn't great, but I'm talking to Elizabeth. It's just me and Elizabeth.
Yeah.
And like that was the moment that I could feel how done with the game I was, like mentally. Because I'm like sitting there in this conversation with Elizabeth, just like trying to like, I know there's something, like I can feel it, that there is something here that I could potentially try to sway you into something.
Yeah.
And I, whether it would have worked or not, I doubt it. But like, it's just I couldn't even like figure out what that thing could have been.
Mm.
Like, what is the argument here for Elizabeth to take out Sam in this moment, or like push, like even like flipping on Isaac, like I
Yeah.
could have done that, or like whatever. Um, and it's just like it was the moment that I was so mentally done with the game that I couldn't get anywhere with it.
Yeah.
Um, I also think I don't think I helped Sky's game at that tribal either.
Mm.
This past one, because I mean I know I'm going home. It's
Sure.
basically like I'm sitting there like this vote's on me. Like there's no way it's not on me.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, fuck it. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna call shit out. I'm gonna do whatever.
Right.
And that's when we get into the exchange with Abby, where
Mm-hmm.
Abby's like, oh, it could be me, and I'm like,
It's never
bullshit.
been you, right?
Like
Yeah.
it's literally never been you.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like
Yeah.
why is this the ploy that you're playing? And it was just this moment where I was like, I'm going home. I'm gonna try to blow up someone's game. And I think what I wind up doing is blowing up Sky's game in a way. I mean, like she's
Sure.
already such a high threat level, and she's
Yeah.
such a like a target at this point. But I'm also like, Sky just had my back so hard that she's like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Get him.
And so I don't think it helps Sky too
Sure.
much.
Well,
Um,
interestingly, like it is it's a 5-3 vote, right? Like it's not overwhelming. And one of the things Jen and I talked about in the first half of the pod is how like the scene with you and Sky talking to Dan, I think you did a really good job. He wasn't buying what you were
right.
selling,
No.
but the like the speaking of missed opportunities, the thing that we said is like maybe the lacking part of it was to give Dan a reason to vote out Elizabeth specifically and not just, you
Yeah.
know, work with
Well, and
us.
that was
Like
like,
say, make something up about like, oh, Elizabeth said that you're a goat or something. I don't know. Like,
right.
and then
So yeah,
maybe that does something different. I don't know. But
I
the
think yeah,
yeah,
and that was like I think there was a part of me that was like worried that I wasn't actually reading the situation correctly,
sure.
and so I didn't want to go like too hard. Um, just in the fear of like rallying, like maybe he is tighter with everybody, and I don't want to rally everybody against me super hard if they're
Right.
like thinking about Isaac. And so there's kind of this like there is there's some hesitation in there that I definitely shouldn't have had. And I do think that that was like, I mean, I'm watching it, I'm convinced. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, Dan should have done that.
The other potential flipper, did you know that Sam was like as seriously considering flipping as he appeared to be?
No, I didn't. Sam's confessionals was super interesting this
Yeah.
episode because I did learn a lot about Sam's game in this one. Um, because Sam is just like so, he is so aloof with me from the moment we merge. And I'm just sitting here like, I don't know where you're coming from. I don't
Right.
like I think that you're just like cruising in this game here.
Mm-hmm.
Because he just refused to talk strategy
Sure.
basically. And like I would literally have conversations with him and he would look at me and he'd be like, you think you could get that to happen? And I'm like, I mean, I thought I could, but like, and he's like, huh, well, maybe, and then would like
That's
walk away. And
that's
I'm just
funny.
like, I don't know what your game is here, dude.
The man of
Um,
mystery. Yeah.
so like, yeah, Sam, I think that I don't know. This is like such a this vote in particular is so hard to sway people on too
Yeah.
because this is the moment where like if you are in a four-person alliance, this is the moment where you take control of the game.
Right.
Like we go from like this is the moment where like your four-person alliance at most could tie somebody at this moment.
Yeah.
And then as long as we can get someone out who's not in our alliance, we can run this moving forward, which is like the pitch that uh Sky and I make to Abby and Elizabeth
Mm-hmm.
in whatever episode that was. And
Right. Right.
and so like I think that it's this vote in particular is just such a like it's a hard vote because of that. It's a hard vote because half the people can't be voted for.
Yep.
And so even if it's like I don't know, I think I like I yeah, it's just so it's such this was such a hard tribal to try to like maneuver through,
Mm-hmm.
especially like coming off the Anna vote. I'm just like I am not in any position that I thought I was in.
Yeah.
I mean, there's you capture. I didn't think you caught this, but I'm wearing a microphone, so but there's like I'm talking to Sky, and I'm just like it's messy time. Like I got
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
there's no, we don't have another game, dude. Our game
Yeah.
is make them fight each other. Like that's the best we can
Uh-huh.
do in this moment.
Yeah. It's like at the very
Um,
beginning of the episode. Yeah. We also said it was funny that you said now we're gonna start playing messy as if you
yeah,
hadn't.
now we're
Yeah.
well, it was intentionally messy now.
Right. Right.
Before it was messy, but like, and I knew that like it was one of those like things that I was like, I can tell Sky this, and Sky's gonna just like run with it. And like we're
Right.
talking to Dan, and Sky's like, yeah, they're saying you're the leader here. Just like I
Mm-hmm.
don't know when we came up with that plan,
Yeah. That
but
was funny. Yeah. I did like her pitch of like you've been on the outside, like you've been left out of votes, like that's gonna keep happening. Isn't that like embarrassing or whatever is what she said? And I'm like, I think this is an effective argument. Just didn't buy it.
yeah. So yeah, I don't know, man. I
Yeah.
Sam was just like he was so all over the place that like from my perspective, I just couldn't get a real handle on him
Mm-hmm.
beyond knowing that like I know that you know what's happening and you just won't tell me.
Yeah.
And like and I understand why you won't, but like
Yeah. Yeah.
I just like I couldn't crack him in any way
Did
to
you
like really
have
get there.
yeah. Did you have much of a vision for your end game at this point, or were you pretty just in survival mode, vote over vote?
I Yeah, I think I was in survival mode to be
Yeah.
honest. I want to say that at this point, my end game was like me, Sky, and Elizabeth. I convinced Elizabeth to like run it with Isaac,
Yeah.
and then we vote him out, and then the three of us just like that sort of thing. Or like I do the smart thing, and I'm like, hey, Elizabeth, like I will sit with you at the final, and like we can take Sky out, or like I want to pretend like. After having thought about this for 6 months, I was in a different spot than I was,
Right.
but like the truth of it is I was desperate to try to figure out how to get through this vote,
Yeah.
and like it didn't really it kind of mattered. Like I knew if Isaac went home, it's not like I was in a good position. Like so best case scenario is Elizabeth or Sam go home.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure that Elizabeth has an idol at this point, and this
Interesting.
this this vote is what convinced me that she didn't have an idol, because I'm like, how do you not play it?
Yeah.
Because she's infinitely braver than I could ever hope to be.
Right.
Um, and I like, yeah. So I don't think I had an end game in mind. I think I just like, I think I wanted a moment of Survivor. I'm in an alliance where we are dictating what's happening,
Yeah.
and then I can think about the future.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. You never really had a moment to like catch your breath and, start to look out towards the end game when you're just trying to duck votes,
Yeah,
time after time.
yeah, and catching strays left and right, no matter what.
Right.
So
Right. I haven't ran the stats yet, but I do wonder if, let's see. Yeah, I'm like 2 weeks behind on stats actually, so never mind. I'm not going to speculate. You'll see it when the when they go out. I wondered how many votes you had because it's got to
I,
be
yeah, I think Sky beats me.
okay
Because
because she was fully voted out.
Sky and I tied in one, and then she gets all the votes on the revote. So like she's
That's
just like
true.
quadrupled the number of votes that I had,
Yeah.
or tripled the number of votes that I had. And then like moving forward, I catch a stray here and there, but like I'm either a part of a tie vote or I'm never a part of a concerted, like we're taking Adam out on this one.
Right.
All the votes are going that way.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm up there, but I don't think
I think
I'm
so. I think so.
I don't think I quite touched Sky's number.
Yeah. It's close for sure. Last thing, maybe talk about like is there any sort of surprise, like personal surprise that you had out there either about the way that you played or engaged with the game or its impact on you or anything like that? Like, yeah, were you surprised at yourself in any real way?
I'm surprised at how seriously I took it.
Yeah,
Um, like I'm competitive. I'm not the most competitive person, but like I have the competitive bone in my body,
right.
and I think that the how hard I took not being able to make headway,
Mm,
like I was really surprised at how mentally taxing this was.
yeah,
I kind of didn't expect it to like. I figured it would just kind of like, oh, like setbacks are gonna roll off my back. It's not a problem. I'm pretty good at that. And it was really hard to be at the bottom the entire time.
yeah.
Especially like sitting there with someone that you enjoy playing with Sky. You're like, I should be having a good time. Like I really like doing this with
Yeah,
you, but like I just can't enjoy this the
yeah,
way that I wish I could. I also think that I mean like I obviously like I've known you for a while and I knew you were gonna take this seriously, but like it
sure.
just your execution of this game was so much better than I ever expected. I expected it to be good, but like it really the quality that you gave us players was just crazy. Um, and I think that was surprising to me too. Was just
Sure.
how good you made
Well,
this.
appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I like give a ton of credit back to y'all, like especially on the competitive thing. Like I think that the worst thing that could have happened was, we get out there and everyone's just kind of like, "Oh, whatever, I don't know." Like vote me
Yeah,
out, I guess. I don't care. And outside of Sam's whatever he did in the first couple episodes, there's like none of that. Everybody's taking it really
yeah,
seriously. Everybody's playing hard. And once that becomes the energy of it, like that's gonna ride out. So I was appreciative of that, but um, yeah, it's been a lot of fun to work on and to put together. So
yeah.
uh,
I
it
also
was a good
this was
group.
also you because I ran you did some virtual versions of like Last Chance Idol, I think is what you called
Uh
it, or
huh.
something. Um,
Quarantine Island. That was
over
it.
Quarantine Island, that's
Yep.
what you
Yep.
called it. Yeah, over COVID, and I participated in one of those, and I did pretty good in that one. But the problem I had was I was Sky in that one. It was the
Sure.
problem, and so I think that I came into this game really being like, I want to be quiet. I want to be a little bit behind the scenes, but I want to be a loud cheerleader for the team,
Yeah.
which I think really rubbed some people on green really the wrong way.
Yeah.
um, and then I want to like figure out how to be like, smooth in my game, and Sky gave me that opportunity to like, oh, I can just send Sky into this, and then I can kind of be quiet
Right.
behind Sky, which I, didn't think I had it in me, but we did. So
Yeah, you are the Trish to Sky's Tony.
I tried.
Looking forward to your final tribal speech where challenge somebody on the ethics of swearing on their children. Was it worth it for $1
Was it
million?
worth?
Okay, well, anything else you want to make sure to mention here before we wrap things up?
Hey, I mean, you probably said it, but like you got the interest form for season two. People got to get on that. It's worth it. It's fun. It's an experience.
Yeah. Well, thanks for mentioning that. Yeah, the season 2 interest form is in the description of this video, as it is in all of the videos on the channel. So, yeah, if you're listening to this and you're like, I want to get my hand on that ball and you want to play, fill that out and you'll be notified when applications are opened, probably later this summer. Also, make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, and there's an email list in the description too, where if you want to make sure you get an email when new episodes come out and other noteworthy stuff happens, you can click that too. So, yeah, thanks again for joining, Adam. Appreciate it.
Force.
Great. That'll do it from us. And a week from today, we'll have another episode of Outlast for you here on this channel. We're getting down to the end of things. I think this was episode 9, so there's just 2 more and then the finale. We're just about there. So.
Yeah, and it's really good.
Can't wait. This next one, I'm on record as saying is my favorite episode of the season. So hang on to your butts. All right. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.